Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome to the 4th meeting of the season in the Apex Racing League GT Championship presented by Colbek. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Peter Mackay, Sam Kumo operating the cameras tonight. Like I said, 4th meeting of the season. We're preparing for round 7 and 8 of the championship. And Peter, we go to a slightly alternative circuit. This place is being visited in the European Sprint Series at the moment, but it's still not a track that we visit totally often, despite the fact that it can facilitate all sorts of racing. It is Motegi, a circuit that divides opinion slightly, but will be nice to visit this place for the first time in Apex Racing League history.
It's absolutely fantastic to be here. I mean, I'm a huge fan of all things Japan and motorsport, and the way that they go about things in Japan with motor racing is just absolutely fascinating. Of course, the circuit is actually owned by Honda, and it's the largest construction project in motorsport of any private company in Japan. So it is a proper facility, and of course has the oval which surrounds the road course, hence why it's called Twin Ring Motegi. And this was actually where Danica Patrick became the first ever female winner of an IndyCar race.
I didn't realise she actually won a race.
She did? Yeah. Here at Motegi. Yeah.
So that is pretty awesome. Yeah, the oval used much less now, but it's still maybe we should visit there one day. We'll have to make an oval series for that to happen. Anyway, you can see the championship standings up on your screen. Alexei Nesov, after a little bit of a couple of sketchy rounds into Lagos, he had a spin in race 2, but still got back up to 5th. And then last time at Montreal, he starts up on the pits in race 1. Kind of had to salvage some points. He's still got a lead though, ahead of Motegi, who's been mega consistent so far this season. Make Paluch as well has been very consistent in 3rd place. Then it's Danny Lee, Tom Brown, who's won a race already, James Crouch, who's won a race, and Matthias Beer, Sven Newman, Brian Kroon, and Max Riedmuller rounding out the top 10. Of course, Kroon taking that excellent race 2 win last time out at Montreal. In the Amateur Championship, it is really close and really tricky to call. Steve Burke has taken the lead for the first time this season ahead of Tom Bingham. Derek Adrianson has been looking very strong in the last couple of rounds in his debut season in 3rd. Anton Galmetzer is in 4th, and Jensen Adrianson's in 5th. You can see Brent Cook in 6th place, and Kevin Kitzman, who's led for most of the championship, had an excellent Phillip Island round. Unfortunately, is much further down the order now in 7th place after a very disappointing Montreal round. You can see the rest of the top 18 right there, all subject to change though, with many rounds of the championship still remaining, plus a job score, which a few drivers will be hoping that they can have a good enough rest of the season that they can job one of their first few rounds. We're currently in qualifying, and we've already talked about it off air, and there's an elephant in the room. They don't have elephants in Japan, but still, it's foggy. So you might be able to pick out some automobiles out on the circuit, but it's not totally clear. We didn't set this up to be this way, it's totally random. We have got 100% humidity at the moment, so any more than that, hopefully rain will come down, falling from the sky. Probably less likely that, and more likely that we just have this fog for the meeting. Peter, I can't remember racing in the fog a whole lot. I mean, usually iRacing don't allow us to use this amount of fog. But it'll be a little bit tricky for the drivers. They have had a couple of hours practice though to get used to it.
Indeed, I think it's a fantastic challenge for the drivers. This would, over a season this long, covering this amount of the world's racetracks, you would often get a race in quite difficult conditions. And here in Japan, that can happen. You do get real extremities in weather. Of course, we were mentioning it before the race here that in MotoGP, which visits here every season, we get some fantastic races, but we also get a lot of wet weather races as well, such as the way that it is. Now, just a little bit more on the Motegi Oval, Sam. One of the reasons why the oval isn't used so much anymore is because very, very sadly, it was damaged quite considerably in the Fukushima earthquake in 2011.
Yes, I think I recall Mr. Marco Barbanera was talking about that in the past. Yeah, that is a shame. And I mean, was there just not kind of the demand to repair it, because was IndyCar still going there at the time, or had they started not going there beforehand?
I think it kind of served its time at that point. In fact, the circuit was given the typical kind of Japanese procrastination, shall we say. In the mid to late 80s, the facility became an idea from the Japanese motorcycle manufacturer, motorcycle engineers within Honda, who wanted to build a facility to test their products. Then it got green-lighted 2 years later, and then, of course, the Japanese economy had a huge bubble burst. But the project was actually going to be shelved, but it was saved when Honda won a contract to supply engines for the Indy Racing League, and it had, Dan Weldon actually won here in 2004 as well. So I think it kind of served its time and didn't quite have the same kind of synergy and leverage and all those other kind of corporate buzzwords.
Yes, I can imagine you in a suit right now. But yeah, it's a unique circuit, this one. It's certainly not like any other kind of modern facility in terms of the layout. You do have a little bit of elevation change. This one, the main one, which Maximilian Fritz is currently negotiating. I think Fritz is maybe starting from the pit, so no, he's all right. He's all right. Apologies. No, he's fine. He served his pit lane start last time. He's fine. He'd say that is a legitimate 9th place. As actually he's approaching a line with 15 seconds to go. Is it good enough to move up any places? The line comes up quite late, I think, around this place. 6th place. Nice job there from Chris. I think that's his best qualifying of the season. A few more drives as well coming across the line. But plenty of hairpins. You got that turn 1 and kind of turn 2, and then you got turn 3 and kind of turn 4. And then you can see it on the track map for yourself. I mean, you know what these corners are like. So quite plenty of hairpins for these drivers to negotiate. Narrow in parts. It's it's a bit of an enigma, this track, but will be a good challenge, and hopefully these guys have done some practice in the European Sprint Series this week to get nice and quick around it. So Alexei Nesov then back on pole position. He missed qualifying at Montreal, but the Urano Esports driver, the championship leader, on pole. Matteo Fulini though in line to challenge him in 2nd place. Danny Lee, much better qualifying for Dan, who has been struggling qualifying a little bit this season, in 3rd. Then Sven Newman, Matty Chambers, Maximilian Fritz, Max Wiedmuller, and Make Palach, Denny Piazza, and Dori Rakuti round out the top 10. Then it's Drew Becker. James Crouch will be disappointed with 12th place. Remember, he got pole last time out at Montreal, but 1 second off the pace tonight. So I think he may have been a little bit low in practice. Then it is Dominic Engel, Nasser Burched, Tom Brown, who won across race 2 at Interlagos. Chris Van Der Nesse rounds out the top 16. Then it is the 2 Adriansons, Dara and Jensen, Chris Prescott, Steve Burke round out the top 20. Then it is Tom Bingham, Brian Kroon, Anton Galmetzer, Andrew Collins-Reed, Lockie Brown, Matthias Beer, Edon Polovina, Brent Cook, Stephen Broomfield, Derek Holland, Nicholas Laubish well out of position down in 31st, and Marco Tolman in 32nd. I think we talked to Laubish last time out, actually. I was wondering where he was. But last week, Peter, I think he messed up qualifying on that occasion. Well, he's done it again, it seems. I mean, these guys do have 10 minutes, but that is really costing Nicholas, because we know that he's one of the fastest drivers out on track. But well, you can't afford to be qualifying like this. It really puts you in the firing zone.
It does, and we see that he is in the danger spot where he is. You're absolutely right, Sam. Especially when you could take into consideration the foggy conditions as well. I think we're going to talk about that a lot tonight, because obviously that really impedes your vision quite a lot. And at Montreal for Nicholas Laubish, it was track limits that caught him out at Montreal. And here he's obviously had a spin or a crash or something that's compromised his qualifying time. But nevertheless, off we go. A little bit back to the status quo, a bit more Porsches back up the front again, so it's going to be very much Porsche versus Corvette, which has kind of been the storyline, shall we say, so far this season.
Yeah, those are the two to-go cars, albeit the Ferrari was quite strong last time at Montreal. Maybe we'll see it stronger later on in the season, but yeah, you're right, the Porsche looking like the go-to car. The Ford Mustang pace car pulls into the pits, and we have got this awkward chicane to negotiate. It's under the control of Nestor for when he wants to put his foot down. He hesitates coming out of the chicane. And now, 25 minutes of racing for this race 1 is underway. It was an excellent start for Fritz, I believe, on the outside line. They might be gaining a couple of positions down into turn 1, but it's Nestor leading the way. Fritz up into 4th position, just holding off Newman. So I think it was Newman with the very strong start, but he has to stay in 5th. 3 wide down into turn 3 at the moment, with Chambers trying to get involved just behind. Chambers slotting his car up the inside. Not quite enough as Lee goes off the circuit. He's spun as well. It's a half spin for Daniel Lee, and reverse control will be the best he can get. But Palach is off the circuit as well. He's gone way off the track there, and Riedmuller dropping down. So there's been a couple more issues down the order as it's 3 wide. This is far more chaotic down into turn 5 than what it was down into turn 1. Hopefully the drivers get back into single file. So quite a few changes in the top 10, and very disappointing for Riedmuller, Lee, and Rakuti.
What was interesting there from the start, it was quite clear to see just how good the low-down grunt and the acceleration of the Porsche 911 RSRs were. And of course, here at Motegi, there's quite a lot of slow corners with real big acceleration zones. So I wonder if that's maybe played a factor in Porsche's ultimate pace here. But Danny Lee actually was caught napping off the start and thought he was going to lose his third position, but he didn't. So just shows they've just got, the Porsches have obviously got a bit of a acceleration advantage over the Corvette, but maybe the Corvette a little bit better in the faster stuff. We'll see how that plays out. Danny Lee now back into 16th position. However, Sam, that could have been a lot worse than it was. He's got no damage and he can carry on. That's the main thing.
Reverse grid of 17 for race 2, so Lee's still within that one. I think we had quite a big crash for Stephen Broomfield further down the order. Kevin Kitzman has had problems, and I think a couple of drivers might return to the pits. However, no one towing to the pits so far. I think Prescott maybe... Oh no, Prescott's just had an off for Team Lizard Motorsport. Gets back onto the circuit, albeit Collins Reed had to take a little bit of evasive action. So one lap in the books, and the front runners are quite spread out, but got a big queue of cars as Newman's ahead of Fritz now. So Fritz is, I think, off the circuit, very slow there for Max Fritz, who wasn't able to be competitive in race 1 last round at Montreal because he started from the pits. This time, he's in a much better position is the German. But 5th position is now his after that slight mistake down into turn 3. Here comes Drew Becker, meanwhile, who's looking to improve. Top of the amateur drivers at the moment. Becker's doing a sensational job. He's up 3 positions from his start. A driver who we haven't necessarily seen the best of so far this season, but he seems to really be mixing that in well, and maybe part of that is down to the Porsche that he's driving.
Well, of course, Dara Adriansons, he is in the Porsche as well, and he's been a front runner so far in the AM class. He's back in 16th position, so fantastic stuff from Drew Becker, and nice to see another challenger at the front. Now, I have to say, this Indy Autosport car, it looks absolutely fantastic anyway, but in the fog, it just those little shiny parts on the paint job, it really shines out nicely. The top job from the in-house painter at Indy Autosport.
Yeah, they come up with some pretty good ones. I recall Marque, was it Marque? Or I think it may have been Adam Hedgecock actually, fawning over the first livery that they had, which was like a basically just a white car with a red stripe down the middle. We were big fans of that one, but they have evolved it well. A bit more complex, but it's still very good. Lee up ahead of Riedma. I mean, these guys should be further up the order. They both started in the top 6, and well, this could be a battle for 6th position. Instead, it is for a mere 13. Lee trying to go the long way around this way, all went wrong on lap 1. Lee is prone to a mistake or 2, but the Colbek car stays behind. He's in 14.
Yeah, you're right. These guys were... Whoa, we got a spinner! Oh, it's Derek Holland. And, oh, just stay there. Just keep it nice and easy. And Derek Holland, really good stuff there. He has a spin. Sees that there's lots of cars trying to come by, reverses back, and round he goes. So keeps it out of trouble and keeps others out of trouble as well. But unfortunate there for the Indy Autosport driver.
I wonder if we get a replay of what happened to Galmetz as well. He's only just ahead of these guys. Galmetz in 3rd place in the Amateur Championship, remember. So that is maybe a collision between the two of them. Oh, it looks like it is. And so it was the Indy car going into the back. No, Galmetz is fine here. And then, oh, that's like a hardware issue there for Galmetz. He has been able to get back going, and he nearly hits the wall. Nice job there. I can only imagine that was a screen freeze or something.
Got lost. Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, that can happen sometimes when the computer just gets a bit clogged up. It can, you can have all control taken away from you. Occasionally, it can happen. Either that or he got lost in the fog. One of the two. It depends. I suppose we do joke about it, Sam, but this is something that the drivers who have put in the most amount of mileage during the week, they're really going to benefit much more, because when you do a huge amount of practice, and oh no, Eden Palova off in the Corvette. But yeah, if you've done a lot of practice, you're kind of driving the circuit on muscle memory after a while. And if in poor visibility like this, if you know that if you have an imprint of the circuit in your mind from hundreds of laps, it can really be of benefit. So I wonder if we'll see that kind of develop over the... interesting to hear from the drivers at the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, some of these TV3 shots, you can really see the fog. The extent of it, it is yeah, quite a lot. Burshed, who has had a couple of excellent meetings recently, was on reverse grid pole at race 2 at Interlagos. I think he was fighting near the front for much of race 2 at Montreal. Unfortunately, with the reverse grid being 17 and him being in 35th at the moment, I don't think that's going to happen again for the Q80 driver, who will also be racing in the GT Trophy, Apex Racing League GT Trophy on Tuesday. All the spots are filled for that one, but still very excited about the start of that new Championship GT3 and GT4 cars. You'll be able to catch that on Apex Racing TV. Oh, that's Bandonetto versus Laubish. Laubish has gained loads of places. He's up 13 places, and this would be for reverse grid pole. This is some big positions. So far this season, Bandonetto has been a bit unlucky, I think, with the reverse grid poles. I don't think we've seen him at the front in too many of them. Laubish moves up into 17th place. That's how you get a move done down the hill. And, well, we've tried to gain a couple more places, but I imagine there'll be an element of him wanting to stay in 17th, because if he was on reverse grid pole, then he would be the overwhelming favourite to get his first race win of the season.
Yeah, we've seen Laubish be incredibly impressive in a lot of places throughout this season so far. Of course, been to now 4 different tracks, and he's been quick everywhere, has Laubish. But yeah, qualifying very much let him down for that man in the Urano Esports Porsche, another fantastic looking car. And oh, now Drew Becker for Indy Autosport has hit some issues. Now, he was running up in the top 10, Sam, but now he's right back, thrown back into the M-Class battle with his teammate, Dara Adrianson.
Yeah, well, he's still in line for that £6 of prize money, should he be able to finish this, because thanks to our sponsor, Colbek, have got prize money for this championship, for the season champions, and also for every single one of the 24 races we have in this 12 meeting season. And that's for the professional and the amateur categories. So real big thanks to Colbek. I'll talk about them a little bit more later on. But yeah, Becker's still in line for that one. But yeah, he's got his teammate right behind him, cross championship leader Steve Burke in 16th position. Brian Kroon, who won a brilliant race 2 at Montreal. Honestly, I'm not usually I'm not biased by any means, but it is nice to see a veteran team, Indy Autosport, who have probably fielded more drivers than anyone else. Maybe EVOSR fielded more drivers in Apex Racing League GT history, but they're probably a comfortable second place. It's nice to see them finally getting their first race win in the championship, but he's got a bit of work to do. He's in 21st, and yeah, once again, 17 car reverse grid for race 2. That's what you go on and get into. We've still got 16 minutes to go though, so plenty of opportunity for change.
Certainly is, yeah. I have to agree with you. I have to see Dominic Engel making a little mistake there in the Corvette, but I have to agree with you that Brian Kroon in the Corvette last week at Montreal is mighty impressive. Fought his way through to the front, and it was interesting chatting to him. Afterwards, he didn't expect to have the pace, but he kind of surprised himself, and he should not have been surprised. It was a wonderful drive.
Yeah, well, he had to put up with quite a bit of pressure, had to get the moves done in the early stage as well. Actually, that was on Bandonetto. I said Bandonetto has been unlucky with the first goal. I think he started on pole last week, so that was slightly incorrect. But yeah, he got that move done on Bandonetto and managed to make a bit of a break and got one slow down, but that was it. Real nice battle right at the back of the order. It's fantastic to have such a competitive field out here, because look at this. This is for... yeah, 33rd position at the moment. This battle goes back down to 37, and there's 39 cars out on circuit. Everyone's still running within the same half lap. But this is some proper tight battling. Andrew Collins-Reed with some damage at the moment. Elon Polovina trying to make his way past, but Polovina's got to be looking behind as well. There's some very competitive drivers in this. I mean, this could easily be a battle for the top 15 in race 1, and yet they're fighting for these very lowly places, just a smattering of points they're going to be able to score. But here comes Asa Buashed. He can't make anything work there, and he's got to look in his mirror. Is that Galmetz just behind?
I'm not sure, actually. I think, yes, it is, yeah. And of course, Gonzalo Cortez up ahead. Now, both Burashed and Cortez, they're both out of position. They have a lot more. Oh, Derek Holland off again. into... Oh, no, was it Kittelman? My apologies. Kittelman into the gravel. There's so many Indy Autosport cars. I get myself mixed up. But goodness, yeah, Cortez and Burashed, they are well out of position. So let's see if they can move forward over the next 15 minutes, because they're definitely quicker than where they are right now.
Yeah, they could maybe make up a few places up ahead. They got 12 seconds to 23rd, so they might be able to get maybe like 25th or something if a couple of things happen ahead, but I think that'll be as far as they get Sykes, unfortunately, off the circuit. Yeah, Cortez actually was right onto the back of Polovina, but Polovina setting his sights on Collins Reed, who is putting up a staunch defense, and then that's a Burashed trying to get past Cortez. Oh, that's a mistake from Collins Reed, and that is finally Polovina through. But it took him much longer than he wanted to get past the amateur driver. Pretty much halfway through this race then, and still our race leader is Alexei Nesov, going for his 4th race victory of the season. Bulini 1.7 seconds behind, not putting much of a challenge on. Lee looks pretty good in 3rd position in qualifying, but his mistake has allowed Newman up into 3rd place, and there's Chambers, Fritz, Rakuti after that very good start, up 4 positions from his start. Palach, Piazza, Brown with a very good drive so far, and James Crouch rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm impressed with Fellini here, because once Nezov gets into a rhythm, he's just so quick from the very get-go. But Fellini's not letting him get away. He's certainly close enough to keep Alexei Nezov honest, and it would not require much of a mistake for Fellini to be right there. And of course, don't forget, Sam, of course, we've seen this a lot. Nezov putting it on pole, winning in race 1, but then hitting problems in race 2 when coming through the pack with the reverse grid. Fellini, he's just been quietly going about his business and just docking points wherever he can. And, it's a long championship. And actually, I always find that with championships where you have one selected by qualifying order and one grid where it is reversed, often the championship comes down to the reverse grid performances. And oh dear, Tom Bingham is in the kitty litter, and I think that might have been Collins Reed in the Corvette as well.
And Cortez as well involved one way. So that was the very tight battle we were watching just previously outside the top 30. And this is how it happened then. So Bingham is 2nd in line here. Is Collins... Oh, there you go. Oh, tips the wheel onto the grass and just tags him. And then I think they've rejoined the circuit quite unsafely here, I can only imagine. Or is it a separate incident? Ooh, oh no, oh guys. So one mistake from one driver takes out another guy, and then another mistake from another driver takes out 2 further guys. So that's 5 cars. Very much damage from all of that.
There'll be a lot of finger pointing going on there, I'm sure. But anyway, we carry on. So Kevin Kittelman, he's got through that. He's up to 33rd position, and also so has Burashed into 31st in his Porsche in the Pink Pig. Wonderful classic Porsche livery. Funny how it's one of the most revered and most loved Porsche livery for a car which flopped in period, absolutely flopped on its backside. Like a pig, I suppose.
I did not know that, but I love a pink race car. I've always loved Racing Points. Pink livery. I'd like to see a pink livery back on the grid rather than blue. Apologies. Yeah, it is blue, which is for all of the F1 teams this season. We're circa 1999, I think, with Prost and co. Crouch. Oh, that is Engel trying to get past Becker. So Becker back up into 13th place here, but he's got Engel and Laubish right behind him, still looking like he's going to win the amateur category though. But he's very quick drivers behind him at the moment. Crouch trying to make a bit of a break for this. He was overtaken by Lee earlier on in this lap, actually, was James Crouch. So Lee back up into 11th place. He might be one of the favourites for race 2. Laubish up into 14th. Let's make it a little bit better than that. He's consolidating that position on Dominic Engel, who may or may not be related to Mario Engel. And now Engel, apologies, now Laubish will set his sights on Becker. This one shouldn't take too long. He's got 9 more minutes to go. He can certainly get Becker, as, there you go, he didn't take very long, didn't he, 9 minutes. And then the next two, Lee and Crouch, two very competitive drivers, will be tricky to pass them lot, but might give it a jerk go. Adriansons and Engel actually battling one. Now that's a nice move there from Darrett Adriansons. I thought Engel would have the pace on Darrett, to be honest. Engel did start a few places further up, but he's dropped down into 16th position now as the core sim racing driver.
I tell you what, Darrett Adriansons has just continued to impress, bearing in mind that he's in the AM class. He has put on some amazing giant killing performances so far, and to be holding off core sim racing pro drivers of Dominic Engel there, but not for much longer. Dominic using one of the great overtaking opportunities here at Motegi, but look at Darrett Adriansons, just goes for the switchback, throws it around the outside, knowing that you'll have the inside for this little left-hand, right-hand switch here, and they go side by side again. Oh, be careful. But Adriansons gives room, so does Engel, and oh, as I say that, they rub, but they get through safe. And meanwhile, Steve Burke, our AM-class championship leader right now, he's watching all this going, oh, superb, excellent, keep doing that.
Yeah, and he might be able to pounce on Engel, who just seems to be losing out in all these battles and leaving him vulnerable from the next car behind. But that timing, I think he should have enough here on Burke, who did run a bit wide, flashing the lights there. Burke, he has a little bit of a reputation, I think, for doing that. I think.
He does drive a BMW after all.
Yep, I should have known that you were going to say that, actually. I teed that one up. Yes, I don't think there was anything wrong there from Engel on that occasion. Hopefully he can start getting it back into a rhythm. Broomfield, who had an off earlier on, he may have been in the reverse grid places if it weren't for that. I think he'd just be missing out. I think he'd be kind of around Jensen Adriansons, to be fair, but it's not too far back. Laubish is ahead of Crouch. Wow, I thought Laubish would actually struggle to get past Crouch, and he's got him in a lap. There he is. Lee now will be the next car up the road. He should get Riedmuller, actually, because Lee is catching up to Riedmuller. That's for 10th position. And then there's Tom Brown a little bit further ahead. So Laubish is quickly going away from the reverse grid pole, which I think is good news for us. We want to see in a competitive race too. I think if Laubish is on the front row for the race too, then that would be quite dull. He should win comfortably. But yeah, it's in one sense it's good because he's gaining points there by gaining each position. But at the same time, he's losing the chance of getting those big points for the race win in race 2. Yeah,
it just looks like Nicholas Laubish is absolutely in the groove right now, just tearing through the field. And in fact, his lap speed is amazing. His last time round a 1:45.67, which, sorry, my apologies, 1:45.78. His fastest lap a 1:45.67, which is pretty quick. That's kind of top 5 pace. But when you compare it to Alexei Nezov, his teammate, 1:44.85, actually fastest man of all of this race is actually Sven Newman in the Corvette in third, 1:45.75.
I think you read that slightly wrong.
1:44.75, my apologies.
So,
oh no,
yeah.
I have read it wrong. Yes, you're right. Goodness me, 1:44. You might ignore me. 1:44.85, Alexei Nezov fastest.
We were talking about the Finnish education system. I think you've spoken for the Scottish education system right there with that.
Or my application to it.
Or maybe that. Lee is trying to get past... Oh, whose fault was that? I don't know. Or Riedmuller's round. That is a massive shame. He's going to be outside the reverse grid place as well. Oh, Max. And, well, in hindsight, he should have re-reversed and then got back going. But he's finally back going down in 20th position. Moves Chris Van Den Esse into a reverse grid pole. Mr. Lucky when it comes to reverse grid places. And, yeah, Riedmuller, he's not going to make up that time. So, yeah, Lee ahead. And, of course, that's where it went wrong for Lee on that one. Of course, if he will be in line for potentially penalty points, potentially a pit lane start, should the stewards find him guilty. If Riedmuller feels like it is protestable in the first place. But yeah, there is Vandenesse in 17th, but Jensen Adjensons could get him, could get past him, which would be huge. Saw how well Adjensons did at Phillip Island race 2 before he crashed, before he went off the circuit. But before that, he was doing very well, which shows the power of a strong reverse grid position. He's got 3 more laps to catch and pass him.
Well, this would be very impressive. At the moment, Brother Dara is the faster of the Adrianses so far in this race at Motegi. But at the moment, Anpass Honour still in the hands of Drew Becker. So it kind of feels like the Indy Autosport Trophy here, Sam. The amount of these blue and green cars, these Porsches. Now, I think it's quite cool that they're all running they appear to be running all in the Porsche 911 RSR. And I tell you what, pooling their resources midweek for preparation and for car setup, that must be hugely helpful. I thought it was Fellini, but it's Piazza.
And Brown, they've collided. Brown's back to the... No, he's not back to the pits. The DRS wave car though is. Brown, no, don't do that. Okay, back going again. He's out into 18th. Adjensons is within the reverse grid. Reed Miller moves up to 18th. Maybe Reed Miller... Oh. That's my voice application there. Tolman off the circuit. Oh, Tolman starts it right from the back as well. He'd driven so well. He literally started dead, like, last of the drivers. He didn't start from the pits, did Tolman. And that's done some good work. Here it was then. Oh, I think, Piazza's crashed then. And then, I guess Brown has come across him. And, he just didn't come one way or the other. And then, sliding off Tom Brown. And that was not a good rejoin, but fortunately he did it slow enough that the other drivers could react.
It's so difficult, because you're backed across the circuit, and normally, in the real world, a crash like that would take you out the race. You wouldn't be able to continue. But what a shame for Tom Brown. And actually, you really have to feel. Forgive me, Marco Tolman. So that's it. You really have to feel for him, because Tom Brown was back onto the racing line quite quickly and not going the speed that maybe I think Tolman anticipated. And Tolman actually did an amazing job not to make contact, but unfortunately he was the man paying the price there. That's really, really unlucky for the Dutchman.
Yeah, he's got Polovina and Kittelman ahead. Who, what's his fastest lap like? He's faster than Polovina, but not faster than Kittelman, it seems. So Kittelman actually much faster than Polovina. The Austrian falling back at the moment, albeit Polovina has had some good race kart in this event so far.
His opposite problems.
I think that might just be your timing screen.
For goodness sake, I'm on form tonight. Gee whiz. I just saw his name tumbling down my timing screen, and I thought, oh dear, what's he happened? But no, he's fine.
Yeah, I think I get it wrong more often when I just think that I'm reading the timing screen wrong when actually something has happened. So maybe we can counterbalance each other this season. Fritz is still in 5th place. He's under pressure from Rikuti. But relative lack of overtaking this top 10 so far in this event. We have seen Lee make some moves, Laubish make plenty of moves, and some moves further down the order as well. But at least amongst these top guys, it's kind of just been spreading out. Maybe the qualifying times quite reflective of their race pace as well. We've got one more lap to go then of this Motegi circuit. They crossed the line with about 20 seconds to spare, so no surprises for any of the drivers. So no fuel concerns, unlike what we saw in the Aussie Mixed and Fixed GT Championship earlier today. Engel in 13th, Berg doing so well again in 14th. And yeah, Kroon in 17th. Is Kroon under pressure from Riedmuller? No, he is not. 3.5 seconds back. There's not too many mega intense battles. I think Polovina versus Kitsman is the most likely one to change. Kitsman trying to line this up with this very unusual chicane to end the lap, but it's not a good exit for him.
No, not quite there for Kevin Kittelman. Now, thanks to everyone chatting away in our YouTube chat on the broadcast here in Apex Racing TV. Now, Freedom Machine asks, are there any Ford GTs? It's very, very, very sadly not. Of course, our outgoing champion, Tom McMahon, won with the wonderful Ford GT, that beautiful sleek shape with the twin turbocharged V6. But much like its last few months in competition in the real world, it's not really had the favour of the balance of performance setting. But we're only 2 weeks towards the end of the iRacing season, Sam, and that's normally where you see a huge step change in the balance of performance setting.
Yeah, they'll be certainly hoping for that. I'm sure Alexei Nesov won't be, because he, in race ones this season, has been dominant. And it is another race win for him, his 4th of the championship. Nesov back to winning form at Motegi. Fulini with a comfortable 2nd place. Newman will round out the podium, and Chambers will finish in a strong 4th. Engel versus Burke. Engel would be a good 13th place, because he hasn't necessarily had as much pace as his teammates in this event. But he has defended well, kept himself out of trouble, and that will be 13th position for him. Drew Becker wins the amateur category. Congratulations to him. I think that's his first amateur win for a while. Adjunsus makes it in Indy Autosport 1-2. And Brian Kroon will make it a very happy race for Indy Autosport with a 17th position. The race winner from Montreal might have a chance at a race win here at Motegi. Polovina holds off Kitzelman. Tolman couldn't quite catch up right at the end, and Buershed as well after his misdemeanors earlier on ends up in 28th. All the drivers will finish on the lead lap, down to Andrew Collins-Reed in 35th, and everyone will score points besides Denny Piazza and Tom Bingham after their respective crashes. It was a, we might, sorry, we've got a couple more cuts across time before we can go to results, but once again, I mean, Nesov just makes it look easy, doesn't he, Peter? I mean, it's quite clear at the moment. He has that 0.2 of a second on everyone, and he's got the consistency as well to not overcomplicate it, you know? You can guarantee he's going to get a 100% out of it, and that 100% is scary to watch.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, qualifies on pole, wins the race out front, doesn't make a mistake, and has the fastest lap of the race. Interestingly, both him and Matteo Fellini are the only drivers who broke the 1 minute 45 barrier there, so they were very much in their own universe, both driving Porsches, of course. So, you know, and you can see the gap there all the way back to Sven Newman in 3rd. So we'll see how they'll have to start right near the end of the top 20. So we'll see what they can do in the in race 2.
Yeah, after a very evenly matched Interlagos and Montreal rounds, where the order was there weren't really many dominant drivers. This one a bit more like Phillip Island. Nesov and Fulin really what were the top 2 on that occasion, and they are the top 2 on this occasion. Sven Newman rounds out the podium. Then it was Max Chambers, Maximilian Fritz, Joey Rikuti, Make Palach, Danny Lee, Niklas Laubisch, and James Crouch rounding out the top 10. Drew Becker, top of the amateur drivers, in 11th. Darrett Adjinson's in 12th place. That'll be strong for his championship. Dominic Engel in 13th. Steve Burke once again maximising a result in 14th. Chris Van Den Nesse in 15th. Jensen Adjinson's in 16th. And Brian Kroon will be reverse good pole in 17th. Max Riedmuller, after a collision with Daniel Lee, will be gutted with 18th. Behind, not sure who was behind him, but in 21st place was Ronald Grossman. Then it was Tom Collins, Dean Powell, Ben Cook, Edon Polovina, Kevin Kittelman, Marco Tolman, Nasser Buershed, David Gowrie, Anton Galmetzer, Chris Prescott, Lockie Brown, Derek Holland, Gonzalo Cortez, Andrew Collins-Reed, Daniel Sykes, Matthias Beer, Denny Piazza, and Tom Bingham. The top 37 cars there scoring points. Piazza, one lap too many down. It needs to be 1 or 2 laps down in order to score points in this championship and most of the other Apex Racing League events. This event is sponsored by Colbek, who have supplied some prize money for us this season. And we really do appreciate their support for this championship. Colbek, an IT reseller with 30 years in the business, working with IT managers and departments across the UK to find savings on Microsoft 365, Altare, Google Workspace, ESETS, Acronis, and many others. If you visit colbek.co.uk/iRacing, you can get better pricing for everything that runs your IT. And if you go on colbek.co.uk/iRacing, you can also vote for your driver of the day. It can be just your favourite driver or someone who you genuinely believes should win the vote. So far, it has been very competitive, and there has been some very worthy winners as well so far this championship. So make sure to go to colbek.co.uk/iRacing and you can vote for your driver of the day on there. The time of day progresses. Peter, we are now at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so the track temperature should be a little bit warmer, and the fog has gone. It's still a little bit there. I think there might be a bit of humidity, maybe 40% or so, but certainly much different conditions to what we had before.
Yeah, it's still got that nice eeriness, that kind of atmosphere around the twin ring Motegi circuit, and that sort of air of anticipation for this 40-minute feature race here. And Alexei Nezov, we've seen him lead from the front so many times in the sprint races, but the feature races have been, if he has had a downfall, that's been it. So we'll see if he can pick his way through the field cleanly on this occasion.
Apologies for thinking it was 40 degrees humidity. It's 97% humidity. So did I say 40 degrees as well? I mean, what's degrees? It's percent. So apologies for my incorrect weather forecasting. So it's only 3% down, but that's how much of a difference 3% makes. Also, it's a bit brighter as well. So I guess that makes an impact. 25 degrees track temperature. It's a little bit less grip for these drivers to use out here. We had a little bit of a chaotic first lap that time around, and I mean last time out at Montreal we had a dreadful start to race 2, of course, with about a 20-car pileup. It's unlikely we'll get a pileup around this place. You know, there's much more space on either side of the circuit, albeit it does get narrow in parts. You do think that's a particularly big risk down into turn 1? Do you think we were lucky in the first race to get away with so little contact in turn 1?
I think so, yeah, considering how foggy it was as well. And I think maybe that meant that a lot of the drivers just took their time a little bit and gave a little bit more space. Will that happen here? We'll see. There's going to be a lot of drivers who are in a hurry, a lot of fast drivers coming through the field, and that can sometimes cause problems.
It seems like the conditions have changed again a little bit. It's very foggy now. Oh, it's 5 o'clock in the evening. Well, there you go. I'm not sure if that was deliberate or not, but there you go. It's 5 o'clock in the evening now. It is much more foggy, so it's still back to 100% humidity once again. So probably similar conditions to what we had last time out at Montreal, actually, and of course in race 1 as well. The order, of course, is the top 17 reversed from race 1. Brian Kroon, do you think, could we see back-to-back wins for Brian Kroon? I mean, that would be pretty spectacular, Peter, but around this circuit, we didn't see a whole lot of overtaking at the front, at least. Would someone like Kroon be able to pull off the defensive show that he did at Montreal last time out to take a race win, or is it going to be that much easier than what we saw at Montreal?
Well, I think Brian Kroon had to fight hard for that race win at Montreal last time out. We know he can do it. Most of all now, he knows he can do it. So watch for that man, the Dutchman in the Corvette there on the front row of the grid. But he'll have his fellow Beneluxian, is that the word? Anyway, neighbour, shall we say, from over the border in Belgium, Jensen Adrianson's to worry about in the early stages.
Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye out on him for these, for that third one. We saw the drivers on the outside getting a pretty good launch. It's very much up to the leader when to go. Last time out, we saw the pole sit to go very early in race 2, but we saw Nesov go very late in race 1. So we will see what occurs. Kroon holding up the field quite a bit, going very slowly at the moment. And there could be a bit of a concertina further back, very slow. It's almost going to be a standing start here, but finally the Dutch driver puts his foot down and we are away racing for 40 minutes of action. Race 2 at Motegi is underway. almost 4 wide down into turn 1, but it's a strong start for Kroon. Ooh, a little bit of contact between the core sim racing drivers who really get in each other's way, and now they come across as well, and we've got drivers spinning across in the middle of the circuit, and we were hoping that we wouldn't have a pile-up like Montreal, but that's not far off it right there. Palage involved in that one. I think Lee got involved.
Yeah.
Burashed continues his poor day, and Galmetzer as well involved. Netsov with a remarkable 8 places gained already, as Adriansons takes the lead of the race then past Brian Kroon.
Yep, so Kroon relinquishes the lead then from Jensen Adriansons. Just showing how good that Porsche is in the acceleration. You just see out the slower corners, it just punches out. Of course, though it is a mid-engine car, it's a little bit more to the rear, and Tom Brown's had a problem in the Ferrari. Oh, big damage on the rear there. So, and on the front. Oh, we've got one of the Corvettes. That's Dominic Engel for Corsom Racing. He stops. Is he going to keep going? Yes, I think he's going to try. Spinning the wheels. Of course, Corvette does not like the grass. But Nicholas Laubisch up to 6th, and look who's come to join him. Alexei Nezov as well. So Nezov from 17th on the grid, already up to 7th before they reach the end of lap 1. Oh, and
wow,
more off.
is,
Lloyd Grossman. Oh
no. He won't be eating any of his Bunakai sauce tonight. Or maybe he will, maybe that's his coping mechanism. But it's bad news. James Crouch up into 8th position, but Kuchi's behind Nesov, who has got a fantastic rally. In fact, Laubisch still ahead of Nesov, so those two the favourite for this race now, I think, from here on in. But yeah, real changes so far in this race. Lee, Rakuti, Engel, Grossman, Brown and Riedmuller, and Piazza, and Beer, all down. I mean, they were all top drivers. The other guys got through it pretty well. But the top drivers with some serious issues and maybe having to take a fast repair in order to fix their damage. Fritz is in 10th position. Broomfield with a decent start, up 6 positions, up into 14th. Tom Collins with a pretty good start. Gonzalo Cortez up 16 places. Tom Bingham up 16 places as well. As Laubisch has just got ahead of Becco. It's tricky to know what to watch, but Nesov is going to make quick work of this as well. These, this is very reminiscent now of Phillip Island with these Urana Esports cars making quick work of in the reverse grid race.
Yeah, they really look like they're on a mission tonight. That is for sure. Alexei Nezov and Nicholas Laubisch, and Laubisch, oh wow, just hooks it around the outside of Chris van den Nesse, who's probably thinking, how did you do that? Oh, okay, I'll just move out the way after you. Goodness me, that is just extraordinary from Nicholas Laubisch, and Alexei Nezov smells a little bit of blood in the water and just tries to carry on through. And of course, here at, oh dear, well, I just say that, Chris van den Nesse trying to tough it out, but Nezov's not going to let him get it easy up the inside. Van den Nesse tries to tough it out, and he's going to, and all the while Nicholas Laubisch is escaping, but you know that Nezov will not give an inch, and there he goes, gets it through nice and clean, nice and tidy, but forceful as well. Brilliant stuff there from Alexei Nezov.
And Nesse really fighting with Joe, who's inevitably going to be ahead of him, but it's worth fighting probably against the championship leader, of course. Burke with a fierce battle with Kroon. In fact, he's got past then, so Kroon just not with the pace he had at Montreal. He's so good at Montreal, but tonight doesn't seem to have the same pace as Laubisch is making his way through. He's up into 3rd position. Excellent positioning there of his Porsche 911, and he's only got 2 more cars remaining to get to the front. Considering that the top guys, well, to be fair, Laubisch wasn't a top guy from race 1, to be fair, but still, after a couple of surprise winners at Interlagos and at Montreal, we've got Crouch and Fritz off the circuit, and Fritz has found one of the nearest walls to the track. He might be able to get back going without race-ending damage, but that is a huge shame there for Maximilian Fritz, and Crouch has also lost a few places from that.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a long queue at the Ferrari parts truck. There's a lot of course, Matthias Beer in the Ferrari out, Tom Brown hitting big problems as well after a couple of strong rounds, and that is just incredible. The pace advantage there from Nicholas Laubisch round the outside of last week's feature race winner, Brian Kroon. Brian's probably there thinking, has he got 4-wheel drive in that car?
Yeah, it certainly looks like it, doesn't it? Nesov, he's finding it trickier to get to the order than Laubish, but he's got past Burke there. Burke is a smart driver. He won't waste too much time battling with one of these Urane Esports cars. And now Nesov has got Krone to get past as well. He's not going to be close enough for turn one, not a big enough braking area. Adjenson's trying to escape further up the road, but it's not going to be enough as Nesov has a bit of a half move. But he's got a much better exit. He's got to be careful though, because this is where the track really narrows up. It's very easy for the car on the inside to understeer into the car on the outside. Nesov looks like he's going to get done anyway. You'll have the inside on the outside. Oh, well, that was Krone just understeering a bit, and Nesov might start getting a little bit aggressive here. Dives down the inside. No contact between the pair, and Krone holds on, and this is just costing Nesov more and more time.
Brian Krone, you know, I tell you what, Max Verstappen, all the time I've spent in the Netherlands, Max Verstappen is a bit of a national hero, and Brian Krone channeling his inner Max Verstappen here, giving Alexei Nesov as good as he gets, and a superb battle here for us to watch. But this is not good for Alexei Nesov's, shall we say, ambitions to win this race. His teammate Nicholas Laubish is tearing off into the distance, and he'll be able to see that as well. And you've got to think that when Laubish gets onto the back of Adriansons, he should be able to get by promptly. He's been able to get by everyone else, but also, tell you what, Sam, big props to Steve Burke in the AM class up into 5th place, and watching all this unfold, thinking, I like a bit of this, as we see Laubish to the lead.
Yep, does he get it stopped? It was a little bit wide, but Nicholas Laubish, after dreadful qualifying, is right in line here for potentially his first race win of the season, because look, Krone is still defending. Apologies if we're missing any battles further down the order, we are missing a few, but this is absolutely fantastic to watch. One of the lower down pro drives in Brian Krone. He just made it into the pro category, holding off the championship leader. This time it looks a bit better for Nesov. We will have to defend, I imagine, down the straight, albeit, yeah, really not a good exit there for Krone. So Nesov finally up into 3rd place, but the gap is up to 3 seconds to the leader, and he has got a car to overtake as well. So, yeah, not great news there for Alexei Nesov.
No, but stand back now. This is where we did see that Alexei Nesov had over half a second advantage on his teammate on outright pace in clean air. So this is what we're going to see now. We've got plenty of time left in this race, 33 minutes or 32 minutes or so. So this is what we're going to see. I actually think, Sam, we're going to see a brilliant battle, a grandstand finish between Laubish and Nesov if I was a betting man. Which I normally am not, but this week I've lost £1 to you, which makes me very sad.
Yes. I mean, that was a waste of £1 to you. You're never going to win. We've got Collins. You know what? I am a betting man. Do you want to chat to these drivers afterwards and ask them the same question? If you win, then you get your money back, double or nothing.
I think we need to think of 2 other films. Favourite racing film? There you go. There's one.
I can take. Yeah, that's a good show. Nasser Burshad, sorry. By the way, just moving ahead. And that is Engel behind Gowrie, losing places. Lee with a very bent up car. I'm surprised he hasn't gone back to the pits, actually. Daniel Lee to get that damage fixed. But I think his lap times are all right. About 2 seconds off the pace, albeit that is in traffic. Favourite racing film? I haven't seen that. Oh no. Burshed's into the wall. That was a little bit of a tap there from Engel, I think, on the brakes, and Burched having an absolutely awful race after a really good couple of rounds. I did say it earlier on, he was really good at Interlagos and at Montreal, but he's not going to be scoring many points tonight.
No, and you can see he's got plenty of room here, and then it's Dominic Engel just misses his braking point and wham, straight into the wall, and that is, and I can tell you folks that really does give you a bit of a fright as well, because you're not necessarily expecting it. So really a shame for Burrshead, because he's had such good pace. But look what we've got here. Alexei Nesov has made very short work indeed of Jensen Adriansons, who we should say is doing an amazing job leading the AM class convincingly right now. But now we're going to get our grandstand battle between Laubish and Nesov.
Yeah, and viewers might be thinking, well, that was 3 seconds before. Didn't you say that's that? Are you wrong? No, I'm never wrong. It was 3 seconds, but Laubish lost 2 seconds in Sector 2 of this lap. Where that is, I don't know, because there's 6 blooming sectors around this circuit. Why you need that many, I'm not sure. Ooh, that was nearly into the wall there for Sven Newman. Getting a little bit forced off there. I think it was Matty Chambers, perhaps. Oh, Laubish is off. Oh, the lead's gone, and 2nd place is gone, 3rd place is gone, and maybe even 4th as well. Oh, and he's made contact with the championship leader in the amateur category and onto the roof. That will have to be a tow. It will be a quick tow, but I would have thought, and that's Vandenesse as well involved in that one. Oh, well, we're going to have to get a replay of that, how that all kicked off. Was it the teammates coming together? I doubt it was, as Vandenesse makes a beeline for the pits.
Is that a shortcut he's taking there? It looked like it.
I think it's the penalty he's making.
Oh, that's a bit clumsy there as well. But we didn't get quite a look there of what happened between Laubish and Nezov. I'm not sure.
Yeah, heading down the hill, seen so many issues there in MotoGP over the years, especially in the wet where you get the streams of water standing up and huge baking out. Oh, it's just a mistake, isn't it, from Laubish as he dipped a wheel into the grass. No, he's just driven it in too deep, way too deep. And well, maybe that is the difference between Laubish and Nesso. I think Nesso has got a little bit more pace, but we have seen these mistakes from Laubish so far this season. Was there much he could do? I don't know. The stewards will make a call on that.
I think when you're rejoining, you've got to just have that little bit of extra patience. Well, put it this way: you got to put yourself in the shoes of Steve Burke, who is doing an amazing job there in 5th position, 2nd in the AM class, and absolutely zero he can do. It was a hit from behind, and you got to think, and of course, AM class leader coming into this round, he'll be furious about that. Make no mistake. As will Chris Vandenesse, in fact.
Yeah. I do feel bad for Burke right there. Bad for Team Lizard as well, who'll be going for the Amateur Teams Championship. Max Fritz onto the back of Prescott. Burke somehow did a lap. Whenever I've tipped the car on its sweep, it usually says, "Nah, you're not continuing, mate," and basically doesn't drive anymore. But he managed to get back to the pits, did a full lap, and will pick up his fast repair, and will be able to take it to the end of the race, or at least score some points. There is Fritz consolidating that 21st position on Prescott. So Prescott, I think, the top of the team list of drivers now. Derek Holland bouncing with David Gowrie. Gowrie, who had a good start, up to 5 places. In fact, Holland's up 10 places, so nice job there from Holland. There's Andrew Collins-Reed. He's in 31st now after that small mistake.
He has kept his front bonnet on, though, which is good. Which means there won't be golf clubs flying out the front bonnet there, so that's good. That's good news anyway. It's not all lost.
You know, he was missing his bonnet for the first race.
That's what I mean. Yes, he's managed to keep it on this time. Yes, it actually looked at. I used to have a Lotus that was yellow like that with a black kind of bonnet cover, and it kind of looked like, kind of reminded me of it there. It made me feel all nostalgic all of a sudden. Anyway, never mind. Now, racing films, Sam. What would your favourite race film be?
Well, I think there's some big ones that I've not watched, but I think the two which stand out are Talladega Nights and
Great
Rush.
Choice. Another good choice.
So, from the two of them, I would probably go, I feel a little bit guilty saying it, probably Talladega Nights. Even though Rush is an excellent film, I feel like Talladega Nights perhaps is a bit more rewatchable. I would say. If you force me to watch one of them right now, I would watch Talladega Nights.
It's very funny. It's very, very funny. Shall I? Well, I'll tell you what. I'll stick on the stock car theme. I'll go Days of Thunder.
I've never seen it.
Oh no, that is your further reading or further watching. That is it. I think you'll like it.
Well, I feel like I've seen the scene in it. It is one of the most quoted scenes in sim racing. Yeah, I need to watch the rest of it. So yeah, that is my homework. That is my homework. I'll get onto that.
There are a lot. One of my favourite, it's a lot more niche choice, is TT3D Closer to the Edge. It's an excellent sort of fly-on-the-wall film, docu-film, if you like, following the 2010 Isle of Man TT weekend, or fortnight, I should say. That is absolutely superb filmmaking, and it's really, really informative, entertaining, and everything with it.
I'll make sure to watch it. Yes. Kevin Kittelman is just been noting by James Crouch, I think, but Kittelman actually in line for some decent points after a disappointing race 1. He's up 14 positions. Brown up 19, Cortez up 20. Huge changes after a relatively static race 1. Have been some big changes in this race 2 thanks to the reverse grid and a couple of issues that we saw earlier on. Adjinsons was ahead of Laubish. In fact, he's still ahead of Laubish, but I don't think that's going to last too much longer, because after that mistake for Laubish, very much gave up the race lead. He's got a chance to at least make it a Urano Esports 1-2 again. And the outside he goes, does the 118. Certainly his racecraft in this race 2 has not been lacking.
Definitely
just has to hold back for a moment. Adjinson's defending right to the line. I feel like it's not worth Adjinson's fighting this, because he had a lead. Well, he's kind of given it up now, but that lead to his teammate has diminished right there.
Yeah, of course, and brother Dara now back in 5th position as well. Yeah, this is I would say a little bit foolish from Jensen Adriansons. If I was him, I would hook onto the back of Lauby straight away and just try and follow him and try and drag yourself along, because as soon as you get involved in any kind of fight, you just lose, well, at least a second, particularly at a circuit like this where you can really throw block passes and stuff like that. And we're not even at halfway point yet, so there's still a lot to shake out in this race. And it's going to be interesting. Laubish back up to 2nd. His teammate Nezov is leading. Now, Nezov is actually just in the last couple of laps set the fastest lap of the race, but it's only about a 10th.5 quicker than Laubish's best. So we'll see what Laubish has got. He's going to have to pull out the drive of the season to catch up with Nezov, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, Nezov so far in 37 minutes of racing tonight has been faultless. So perhaps he's due an error eventually. If it did, then yeah, Laubish might be in range to profit from it. We'll keep an eye on their lap times. You can keep an eye on their lap times using the SDK Gaming live timing webpage. If you click on one of the links in the description below, you can open up a web page, and it gives you information such as the gap to the leader, the gap to the next driver, the last lap time, each driver's best lap time, their pit stops as well. That's not too useful, but it's some pretty useful stuff. So do click on that link, and you can yeah, really see what the gaps are doing further down the order. Matty Chambers moving next on to Darrell Adjinson. So Chambers could be in for a podium here. I don't think he's got one so far this season. Was Crouch won race 1 at Montreal last time out as the teammates. Oh, here we go. Are they actually teammates? They're not proper teammates. Oh no, that's a teammate though. That's Adjinson's off the circuit. Did well to collect that one. He's going to drop behind his teammate Becker. Jeez, there are too many of these guys, aren't there? But Adjinson's and Kroon are not technically teammates. One is a grey driver, one is a red driver. They are still under the Indy Autosports staple, and that was Kroon moving ahead, and Adjinson is taking way too wide a berth, and it's left him vulnerable to Chambers.
Yep, and we know that Matty Chambers is pretty ruthless as well. He's certainly ruthless with you in the in the interview room, Sam, and you return the favour just twice as bad. But yeah, I tell you what, I've got a degree of admiration for Jensen Adriansons here, saying I don't care what the number board on the side of my car says, if I'm a pro or an am, I'm going to fight you for every place, and you have to respect that a little bit as well. And he does have a little bit of extra breathing room now, because his brother Dara is back to 8th overall, 2nd in class, so there's a little bit more of a gap now for Jensen. And Brian Kroon, he has taken the he has taken the initiative, and as soon as he's passed Jensen's, he's really been able to stretch a couple of car lengths. Now he'll have to try and stretch as many as he can, because Jensen isn't going to be able to hold off Matty Chambers for too much longer. Looks like Matty's going to get by. He does. Really inspired move there from the Evo SR driver. And I tell you what, now that he's up into the fringes of the podium, Sam, you're going to have to interview him again. And oh, that's clumsy. That's Matteo Fellini, our runner-up from race 1. He's almost on the racing line. This is really dangerous position here. And does, well, really patient to stay there and not move and give the drivers a chance to get around him. But Fellini turned around by Jensen Adriansen's there. Controversy.
Yeah, I don't know. It was looked like he went around the outside. Did he cut off the corner too much? I don't know. We'll see if he protests that one, but that could be quite significant for the championship. Fellini down into 17th place would be losing 30 odd points right now to Nestor if it ends like this after losing, I think, 7 points in race 1 as well. The championship lead would be up to about 60 if that happened. So yeah, could be influential, that one. So Chambers scampering away in 4th, and Atkinson's not with a big gap now to his brother Dara. These two fought for the top positions back at Interlagos a couple of weeks ago. Might well be fighting for the top positions once again. I think before I was meant to be promoting SDK Gaming, so shout out to SDK Gaming, who provide a lovely overlay, which you can see up on screen. Of course, that live timing webpage is supplied by them as well. But if you go to sdkgaming.com, then you can get an overlay like this, which is fantastic for streaming and also as a heads-up display. Got all the information that you need for the race in that, so do go to SDK Gaming for a 14-day free trial. Adkinson's then, he is resetting his sights on his brother and teammates and championship rival, all in one. But he's having to stay behind Sven Newman at the moment. I would have thought Newman would have the advantage here, and I assume he will establish that advantage. Newman could be in for some big points tonight after an excellent race 1.
Yeah, and of course, remember, Drew Becker was winner in the AM class in race 1, and he's sitting in 8th overall right now, 3rd in class, but you can see he's got Dara Adriansen's 2nd in class straight away, and then Jensen's only a couple of cars ahead. So we could tell you what, Sam, we could end up with 2 double winners tonight. Wouldn't that be funny?
I'd have to go back into the record books to see the last time that happened. I'm not sure if it's ever happened. Certainly Tom McMahon got his fair share of doubles, and I guess well, actually, no. When we had British GT and American GT, it was just pro. There was no pro and am, so it may well be the first time that would happen. Here comes Newman up the inside of Atkinson's fight. I thought there was going to be a quartz panel there, but Newman is ahead, and after finishing 3rd place in race 1, he could be in for another podium. That would be a terrific effort if he could do that. But we've now got the 3 Indy Autosports drivers battling one another. Atkinson's 1, Atkinson's 2, and Becker as well. It's tricky to say who is the fastest out of these guys. We're going to have to sort it out on track.
Yeah, and this is going to be, see if we can see a little bit of infighting here between the Indy Autosports guys, or will they fight all the way to the flag? Let's see. This will be an interesting dynamic to play out here between Jensen Adriansen's, Dara Adriansen's, and Drew Becker, who's at the back of that Indy Autosport trio right now. Back at the front, speaking of teammates, Alexei Nezov is turning the screw hard on his teammate Nicholas Laubisch. Fastest lap of the race of anybody, 145.6 for Nezov. Took half a second out of his teammate there, and Brian Crone gets, oh dear. Matty Chambers getting nerfed off track, and tell you what, Sam, this race, or this meeting, there's been a lot of contact going on.
Yeah, a little bit more than normal. Usually Motegi really facilitates great racing because, you know, it's quite a wide circuit. You can kind of get done into the hairpins, but yeah, not tonight. And Chambers, who was having a good night, back behind Edon Polovina. Polovina was doing very well, by the way. I'm not sure who my driver of the day is, but if Polovina can get a top 10 out of this, I think my vote may go to him because he's kept out of trouble despite being constantly around the trouble, it seems, tonight. He is in 16th place, 9 places up from his race start. And well, look at the top 2 on that last lap. Nesov and Laubish quite a bit faster for Laubish. I think that was a small mistake there from Nesov on that last lap. Gap is still 6.3 seconds. Yeah, that's very much against the grain. Nesov's going to have to continue doing slightly poor laps like that, but you can see 45.6, 45.8, 45.6, and then that one was an outlier. So still looking good for Nesov for that. Well, it would be his 5th race win of the season out of 8 races.
Yes, it would be, and it would really stamp his authority as the championship frontrunner. He has really been in a little bit of a league of his own, Alexei Nezov, in most cases. He's only really faltered when he's got tangled up in incidents on his way through the pack in reverse grid. But most of all, you know, from pole position in race 1, he's been absolutely imperious. But this is showing that he's got the full set. Absolutely extraordinary. Yeah, indeed, that last lap was an outlier. It was Laubish's best of the race, and a little bit slower than normal for Nezov. Perhaps a little tiny mistake, but there's a big gap, about 6 seconds between them right now. So looks to be relatively sewn up, but it's been a race where absolutely everything has happened, it seems. And tell you what, this has been great from Matteo Fellini in the 110 Porsche. After getting turned around and sent back to the fringes of the top 20, he's really tenaciously fighting back.
So yeah, Fellini currently in 13th. He is 12 seconds off Brian Kroon. At the moment, Kroon is 2 seconds a lap slower than the top 2, and I think he's relatively similar. Oh yes, sorry, Kroon. Sorry. I was wondering what you were saying there. Thought, oh no, it's finally tipped over the edge, but you are right. It was me. I was the crazy one all this time. Brian
I've been
Kroon.
dropping hints all broadcast as well. You've
well,
not noticed.
Well, in race 1, I got it wrong a few times. I did correct it, and then I've got it wrong every time since. So Brian Kroon, yeah, basically my point is that Fellini could still get a podium would be too much because we've only got 12 minutes to go. I think we've got 20 minutes to go, then maybe he could. But I think maybe top 5, I honestly wouldn't rule out for Fellini here. These top drivers are very good. And these Indy Autosport drivers, I think, you know, sometimes some aggressiveness has some value. And I fear that they might start just not wanting to overtake one another, and that might cost them in their times. They're doing 47.2 on that last lap time. Fellini a 46.3. The gap is 7.5 seconds with about 8 laps to go. 7 laps to go.
Well,
so it'll be close.
If they are, you're absolutely right, Sam. Because if they are in flying formation now, which I have to say, Jensen Adriansen and well, maybe Dariel Adriansen as well, their kind of body language has become a lot more tidy all of a sudden. They look to be much more in a line and following each other around, which is absolutely a sensible thing to do. However, on outright pace, Dara Adriansen and Drew Becker can lap about half a second quicker based on the lap times they've set so far. So the only thing is if they need to determine if Dara Adriansen and Drew Becker are able to go by and push on, or are they happy with the pace they've got? I mean, because Kevin Kettleman, he's not too far back as well. He's in 8th place, but mind you, what's he in? An Indy Autosport Porsche.
Yeah. Well, they could get all 4 of them in a row here, but Stephen Broomfield, who's made his return for the season, missed season 3 of the Apex Racing League GT Championship, but has made his return for season 4 and has some good pace actually. Broomfield, he has improved in his off season. Was a little bit made a few too many mistakes in season 2. I think got a little bit frustrated, but he has certainly improved for this season 4. He could get a top 5 out of this. Basically, I'm saying that literally everyone could get a top 5. I could finish in a top 5 here. It's very open, and I feel like something could happen out there. Also, Lockie Brown. We haven't really talked about Lockie Brown too much, I think, Peter. I haven't talked about Lockie Brown. He's doing well. I mean, another Indy Autosports driver in 10th position, but it's nice to see that Aussie flag back up there because Lockie so far hasn't shown nearly his full potential. He is a quick driver. I think a bit unlucky. Certainly back at Phillip Island, he was very unlucky, and so nice to see him doing quite so well.
Yeah, Lockie's a super quick driver, and I'm going to actually throw in praise of Lockie. I'm going to throw myself under the bus here, Sam, because I had the immense privilege of sharing a Porsche 919 hybrid LMP1 car for the 6 Hours of Movember charity race at Le Mans. And I had the immense privilege of sharing the car with Mike Epps, who's a former British touring car driver and unbelievably fast in the sim. And even with me as his teammate, still managed to win the race. And I certainly tried my best to throw it away. But Lockie was our main rival, also running in a Porsche, but he did the whole race on his own, which is amazing stamina. And we had a great day racing one another at Le Mans. And honestly, if it had been me in the car, Lockie would probably lap me 3 or 4 times over. But I had the secret weapon in Mike Epps, who was on amazing form.
Jensen's is off.
Oh! That was close.
As cones go flying. And here we go. Here's what it was. Oh, Jensen's. He made a mistake in race 2 from the lead at Phillip Island. I keep on drawing comparisons to Phillip Island, but honestly, it's very similar this round. And he built up a little bit of a gap as well, and those mistakes cost you so much time. And that is a bunch of places lost. Still fighting his teammate. He's got to fight James Crouch now. Which will score some decent points tonight, not any big scores. It is quite a steep point scoring system we have in this championship, so it's worth finishing in the top 3 or the top 5 to get those big points. But still, like a 10th and 11th, I think it would be for Crouch. Would be all right for him. Of course, former winner in this championship, 2 wins last season, and a win back at Montreal in this season. Once again, another shout out to another one of our sponsors for this championship and for Apex Racing TV, Apex Racing Academy. You do 29 data packs containing setups, track guides. It's integrated with VRS as well, which is pretty cool. Have weekly group coaching sessions and many more. Certainly, me and Peter can attest to the competitiveness of their setups, because we've done decently well since we've been using them in the Porsche Cup car. Of course, they are developed by Porsche, by iRacing Esports Porsche Cup driver Kevin Ellis for that one, and one of the most competitive drivers in iRacing. So I certainly recommend going to Apex Racing Academy in order to improve your driving. Derek Holland, is it Derek Holland? It is Derek Holland. He's battling with Steve Burke. Steve Burke towed back to the pits. He's doing remarkably well. He's in 25th position here, and it's nice to see a couple of BMWs battling one another. That's 2 positions, and in 1 right there for Steve Burke. He's up into 24th place, ahead of Prescott, his own teammate, remember, and ahead of Holland as well.
Yeah, he's obviously driving angry. Of course, there was nothing he could have done. He got taken out of the race, and no fault of his own. And he's charging on as Steve Burke, trying to gather as many points as he possibly can. Just coming back to big shit. Whoa, Derek Holland having a moment there in the background. Just coming back to Kevin Ellis Jr. If you've not seen Kevin driving in the sim, I urge you to watch last night's Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup from Road Atlanta, and Kevin in the number 30 Rahal Linneman Lanigan car, which have an alliance with Apex Racing Team. Just watch that. He was mighty impressive last night. I won't spoil the results, but my goodness me, he fought very, very hard.
I saw the last lap of race 2.
Oh.
And that was any stewarding decisions on that?
I don't know. Any stewarding decisions that do happen after the race, much like here in the ARLGC Championship, actually. But yeah, I don't know. To me, racing is
James Crouch is battling past Jensen Adjinson, so that's another place lost for Adjinson. You've got Cortez and Fulini. It would be great to see Cortez up there. He has had a tricky season. Oh, no. I don't know who you drove into who there, but whenever you crash down the straight, it's always a tad unnecessary, because it's a straight. And yes, it's Adjinson's massive shame for him in this race. 2 big points available, and his teammates seem pretty happy to stay behind him, maybe 5th place possible. Instead, he's going to do well to finish in the top 20. Here it was, and well, I'll be the executioner maybe after the race, but I don't know.
I'm glad I don't have to look into that one, put it that way. I looked a little bit of a mess there. Like you said, down the straight, there shouldn't really be any reasons for cars making contact going down the straight. That's all we will say. Well, now the double is on, Sam, because Drew Becker is up past Dara Adriansons into 5th overall, leading the AM class. So Drew Becker is in position with just 5 minutes to go here to score a double AM win, and Alexei Nezov looking all in the right place to do a double pro class win.
Yeah, that would be a pretty rare result right there if it could stay like that. What a race it's been for Becker, who I don't think has got a amateur win so far this season, and yet he is piling on the pounds right now with his prize money. He'll be getting £12, which is a few meetings of the Apex Racing League GT Championship covered for him. Kroon and Newman are really close to one another. Newman might be up into 3rd position very soon. They're way behind Nesov and Laubish. It would be an excellent result if Newman could get past in the remaining lap and a half of this race. In fact, 2 laps and a half remaining of this race 2 of the evening. Newman probably going to be lining it up for maybe the hairpin in a couple of corners' time. I mean, Kroon could get a couple of plays. Oh no, Brian, you've ruined it. I was about to say, if they could get a couple of plays, that would be a good result. He's behind all of his teammates. Oh, Brian.
What a pity. What a pity for Brian Kroon. That would have been a double podium for the last 2 feature races, but he has an ally just ahead of him here in Kevin Kittleman, so you never know. Might be able to get a couple of places back. We'll see. But just a couple of minutes to go here at Motegi, and of course that was the kind of almost the battle of the non-Urano Esports, wasn't it? The 2 Corvettes fighting for the last spot on the podium. We appear to have lost Sam Fitzpatrick.
So, yeah, apologies. Just Anton Kalmetzer. Apologies for that. In 26th place, in fact. He's playing with Grossman, who had a problem in race 1, I think, did Grossman, but that car seems remarkably clean. That's all these cars seem very clean, so maybe they all came into the pits. In fact, Grossman did come into the pits earlier on, so he did have to take a fast repair in the early stages. It's got Marco Tolman just ahead, who had a very good drive in race 1. Started dead last of the drivers who didn't start in the pits, at least in race 1 did Marco Tolman. Was on for a good result. Unfortunately, got involved in a separate incident which pushed him down the order. 25th in race 2. Isn't too bad for the Dutch driver, of which there are many out on circuit. The race leader is going to be moving on to the last lap of the race as well. Very soon we've got 1 minute and 10 to go.
Yep, last lap then for Alexei Nezov as Andrew Collins Reed has a big lunge there on Galmetzer in the Ferrari, and through he goes. And I tell you what, doesn't that Corvette look fantastic? The C8R, with those wonderful endurance racing lights below the main headlights. You got those big headlights, which actually they've almost emulated on the new Golf GTI of all things. Oh, he's gonna have a
no. That was yeah. The stewards are gonna be busy. Yeah. Maybe netcode, to be fair. There was a gap, but so would they have made contact regardless. Collins Reed in 31st position. Unfortunately, after that one, the leads are on their last lap. That was Holland. Track extending as Gary leads up into 30th place. Any other battles going on? Kroon and Fulini. Fulini's not going to get 5th, but he could get 7th here. Apologies, no. He could get 8th. If he could get past Brian Kroon, 8th is the least. Oh no, don't point it out, eh? Just don't point it out. Yeah?
He's probably watching it back going, how many times does he want to get my name wrong?
I don't care. I don't care. Kisselman's just
doubling
moved ahead
down again.
yeah, doing me. Digging a hole, getting the shovel out. Kisselman's back ahead of Broomfield as well, further up. You see, I can pronounce Broomfield's name, can't I? It took me 2 seasons to nail that one. But can't get Bloomin' Crow. Feeling trying to get past. We're going to have to cut to our race leader though in a moment. It's all kicking off. I wish this was an hour-long race, frankly. But there he is. Race leader. It's going to be his 2nd double of the season, his 5th win of the season, and he's just made it look easy. Alexei Nesov for Urano Esports wins at Motegi. His teammate Laubish in a strong 2nd place. Newman in 3rd, and Becker will get another amateur race win. This is how far behind he is. He's still got a few more corners to go, but it's looking good for him.
Yep,
very rarely.
Coming into
sorry, you go, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, but they're coming into the final chicane now. Drew Becker is going to steal up a double AM class win, so matching Alexei Nezov's pro class wins, and Dara Adrianson's again just clocking up those points. And Matty Chambers around to the final corner. What has happened to Matty? Oh, he's going to be. Oh, you're going to have fun interviewing him tonight, I think, Sam.
Well, at least we have an excuse not to. At least we have an excuse not to bring him up. Batsy.
Is that Bellini off again?
Oh yeah, it was.
Oh no.
DRS wave car. Oh wait, he's already lost it. What was Batsy doing? Come on, mate. You're almost at the end, and yeah, a mistake. Right, it's at the close. Wonder what happened to Fulini. Wonder if we get a replay of that. What happened to Fulini? Right, it's at the end there, because that was a furious battle. In fact, what was the results in the end? So Kittelman beat Broomfield, and yeah, Fulini dropped behind Brown and Cortez. It was. Nice camera direction from Sam Kubo to find us this piece of action. It may have just been a couple of corners around, but we can certainly watch this throughout, because it was a fantastic battle. Unfortunately, we kind of missed right at the end. Fulini was so aggressive, wasn't he? I mean, it's only 1 point that they're going to gain. Maybe, yeah, I think 1 point to be gained, but boy, did he want that point. He may have got a few penalty points for getting a few too many incidents, potentially, if he's gone off the circuit here. Oh, it was contact behind from the 115, and that was it. It wasn't a big incident, but it was enough, and then Chambers really gifts him the position right at the end. So
no luck for Fellini there at all.
No, so yeah, that was Brown then with the hit. Could have been netcode, you know, with the Australian connection, but once again, it's all down to the stewards. We don't have any power up here. The results then from the feature race 2 of the evening. Alexei Nesov wins out. Nicholas Dalbeach in 2nd place. Then it was Sven Newman. Another podium for Newman there. Excellent day for him, albeit you can see a long way behind the race winner. Then it was Drew Becker, Dara Adjinson's Kevin Kitzman. That's the podium for the amateur category. That's very nice looking, wasn't it? Top 3 blue and then next 3 white. Lovely. Stephen Broomfield was in 7th place. Then it was Brian Kroon, Lockie Brown, Gonzalo Cortez. Excellent result for Cortez there. Matteo Bulini, James Crouch, Dean Powell. Good result for Powell, actually. I think that might be his best result of the season. There was Tom Bingham, Edon Polovina, Maximilian Fritz, Brent Cook, Dominic Engel in 18th. There was Mick Paluch, Jensen Adjinsons, Danny Lee, Steve Burke. Good recovery to be fair from Burke there after being on his roof. Tom Collins was in 24th. There was Michael Tolman, Ronald Grossman, Anton Galmetzer, Chris Prescott, Tom Brown, Andrew Collins-Reed, David Gary, Derek Holland, Daniel Sykes, Nazar Burshed, Chris van der Nesse, Troy Rakuti, Max Wiedmüller, Denny Piazza, and Matthias Beer. Piazza and Beer didn't actually take part, and Wiedmüller retired on the first lap. Interviews with the drivers. So, well, we've already got an interview with the man, because he finished so far ahead of everyone else that he could, you know, whilst everyone else was finishing, he could hop up into the commentary box and have a chat with us. It is Alexei Nesov, who has got his 4th and 5th race wins of the season. Congratulations, Alexei. I'm going to say again, I've said it a few times this season, but you made it look easy again. How confident did you feel out there? How good did the car feel over those 2 races?
Thank you very much. Actually, I didn't expect a good result today, to be honest, because if we look a little bit on the background, I've got my wheelbase broken like a few days ago, and I had to find the emergency something else. And the base I have right now is absolutely new for me, and I had no experience. I mean, until today. Today I first time tried this base, and somehow I got the good base. But yeah, I think that Porsche is so good on this track, and I'm just I have experience on this track helped a lot. And yeah, actually it couldn't be better. All double win, double fastest lap, double 0x races. So I'm just so happy with that.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Do you know why the Porsche is so strong around this circuit?
Because this circuit has no bumps, so many narrow corners, slow corners. So that is the conditions for the Porsche.
Right. Yeah, that's good to know. In race 2, you had quite a big battle with. I'm trying to recall who it was. It was one of the Indy Autosports drivers. I think, was it Adriansons who it took a little while to get past? Were you concerned in that moment that you were being held up and that Nicholas, your teammate, might start pulling away, or were you quite cool in the helmet?
Yeah, at the first I had a really good start, and I got up behind Nicholas right after a few corners, which was surprising. But yeah, we were fighting the field together, and yeah, at some point I started to fight hard with some drivers. I don't really remember who was that. Yeah, I lost quite much time on that, and Nicholas pulled away by 2-3 seconds. And yeah, I already thought that it was gonna be a tough call to catch him back, but then yeah, unfortunately some mistakes for him, and yeah, it was easier than I thought. But anyway, P1, P2 for our team, we couldn't expect better result, even after the problems in quali for Nicholas.
Yeah, and next up we go to Zolder. Now, is that one going to be a good circuit for the Porsche? Because there are some bumps around Zolder, but at the same time there's some kind of medium speed corners as well. So what are you expecting around there?
Yeah, obviously we're gonna struggle with the curbs, with the jumps on this track, but yeah, however, the corners are very good suitable. So I think the Porsche won't be like the best choice, obviously the best, but still competitive.
Awesome. Well, best of luck for that one, Alexei. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Thank you, and thank you guys for the day. So see you in 2 weeks.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Alexei. See you then.
Goodbye.
Alexei Nesov there for Urane Esports. Peter, who would you like to have a chat with?
Well, why don't we get Drew Becker in after his amazing double victory? Let's get him in and have a chat. Drew, welcome to the commentary box, and a huge congratulations on a double class victory out there at Motegi. How does that one feel?
Oh, it was wonderful. Honestly, felt really good. I think it's the best, obviously the best result I've had, but you know, I'm glad that I was able to actually finally get out in front and kind of show my pace.
You certainly did indeed. Now, we must talk about the weather conditions, because they were slightly bizarre today out at Motegi. I mean, how did you find it? Did it make it more difficult, or did you know the circuit at the back of your hand?
So I had done a couple of ESS races this week, and I think all but one of them were in the fog, so I was pretty familiar with it, so it didn't really mess with me too much. But I mean, the track temps were super low, so I knew that the car was going to have grip and there wasn't going to be any issues with that. So it felt right at home. I'm one of those guys where, you know, I like driving at night in the endurance races because you only have to focus one corner at a time. You're not looking ahead, you're not looking behind. So I think the fog kind of helps me out a little bit, kind of focus in on that.
Absolutely, yeah. That's just a good theory to look at it. Now, it seems at the moment it depends on the circuit we go to. Funnily enough, but the Porsche seemed to have a bit of an edge today. Now, to me, it seemed like it had really good grunt out the corners. But you've been driving it. Just tell us where your race car was really working today.
So the Porsche is really strong in the corners. For whatever reason, especially on this track, and I think it was Phillip Island kind of showed that too, where you can carry a lot of speed with the Porsche and turn it in with a lot of speed, so you don't really have to worry about getting the understeer, and you can really trust the traction control. I noticed that the Ferraris, the BMWs had a lot of power on the straights, so it was really hard to line up any sort of passing. I don't think I actually ever passed anybody legitimately except for on the start on the second race. It's just one of these tracks where it's extremely difficult. But definitely a lot of speed coming out of the corner. That was kind of the only instance where you'd be able to gain anything on anybody.
That's fascinating indeed. Well, Drew, before we let you go, who would you like to give a shout out to here on Apex Racing TV?
I just want to shout out to the guys that on the team, Kevin Kittleman, Brian Kroon, everybody that was in the practice yesterday. I think we did, over the last 2 days, probably around 200 laps on this track. So we felt like we had a good shot on this track, so we got a lot of practice. So just want to give a big shout out to them.
Now, I've almost forgotten one question. Sam, my commentary colleague, and I are having a bit of a wager. Which would be your favourite film, Talladega Nights or Days of Thunder?
Talladega Nights all day, first or last.
Well done.
Although I've lost, it's a very close second to me. I love them both. Everyone's a winner and all that. I'm not bitter at all. Drew, you are in the AM class, but you have driven like a true pro today. Well done. Go and enjoy that double win.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for hosting everything, and thanks for the stellar commentary.
Thank you very much. So, Sam, you're going to make me a poor man here at this rate.
Yeah. Well, this is brilliant. By the way, a quick shout out to Virtual Racing School, our other supporter on Apex Racing TV. You provide over 50 data packs on road and oval racing, setups, track guides, data analysis software as well. So do check out Virtual Racing School. I'm sure you know about them already. Also sponsor the GT3 Championship as well. We will have a chat with Daniel Lee right now. A couple of questions first, Daniel. We'll get the big ones over and done with quickly because I am going back up from Thursday. Which is the better movie, Cars or Monsters Inc?
Let's be honest, Cars.
Oh,
like
come on.
Come on!
Let me put my reasoning behind that. I've actually seen Cars. I haven't seen Monsters Inc. all the way through. So you can't judge something you haven't seen. So out of the two, it's got to be Cars.
Wow, okay. That's disappointing. It was literally one of my favourite films of all time. I am 20 years old. And the other question, Daniel, Talladega Nights or Days of Thunder?
I haven't seen either of them, and I don't want to be casting aspersions on things I haven't seen. You're going to have to catch up with me on that one. I take it's been a busy race then. You've had plenty to draw upon.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, your race was... it started well. Third place on the grid. What a qualifying lap. And then what happened on lap one? Because it just seemed like you went off by yourself.
Yeah, that's completely what happened. I think I had a conflict in my head whether or not to try and overtake Mattia Foligno straight away or leave it for a second. I think that indecision meant that I wasn't on the right line. Cold tyres, foggy conditions for some reason just threw me right off during practice and warm-up, and just made an unforced mistake. Could have been worse. The car could have turned around completely and it was heading that way. But nonetheless, any advantage I had from good qualifying was gone, and overtaking with the Porsche remains difficult. You've got to make it under corner entry or corner exit and nothing in between. So that really did give me a big hill to climb then.
Yeah, you did all right to get back to the position that you did. I think I was 8th position in race 1, but then race 2, when maybe you had an even better chance, I think you were taken out without you really knowing. What was your view like of that turn 1 in race 2?
It was a chaotic start to race 2. It would have been fine. It's always the human element that it comes down to. And what happened was that the two course and racing guys came together, but to the side of me. When you hear contact, you immediately think, who's going to be turning around? Who's out of control now? Are they going to come careening over the track? and take me out. So I was so busy looking left that I didn't notice my car drifting onto the sort of inside grass. Just one wheel was all it took. And that meant that the rears lit up as soon as they made contact with that grass, even though they're on the inside. And that was it. Tank slapped. Car was going around, just had to hold the brakes and hope nobody hit me. But unfortunately, I got a crunch, and that was that. It was really poor. That race featured some of my worst and some of the best fights and overtakes I've ever done. But on the whole, it didn't come down to much because of the massive mistakes.
Yeah, it was a shame. We've got a break week next week. What do you do during the break weeks? Do you have a week off from the championship, or do you start preparation for the next circuit a little bit early?
Usually leave it till the week of the race. Reason being, I think there's an endurance element to practicing for these races, and even for this one, I've done so many ESS series races to get practiced and up to pace for this track this week, because I didn't feel very fast. But it's always that concentration element that I really got to pin down. There was nothing wrong with my pace this week, but that's because of all the practice. Shouldn't need that much practice at Zolder. I love Zolder, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to have a proper week off and then start practicing when that rolls around.
Awesome. Well, we will see you back for that one, Daniel. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just a thank you to friends and family. The Chapman family particularly have always been there, a great support and just generally good cheerleaders. So thank you to them. To my wife Claire, thanks for the support, and you guys for the stream and for Colbek. That's it. There's too many to thank. So we'll do a few each week and we'll get through them all by the end of the season.
Yes. Thanks for having a chat with us, Daniel. And see you in a fortnight's time.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Daniel Lee there with an 8th place and a 21st place. Just a reminder as well, of course, this event and this championship is sponsored by Colbek, an IT reseller who have been around for about 30 years. And they get you better offers on IT software such as Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, and many more. If you go to colbek.co.uk/iRacing, you can get some discounts on everything that runs your IT. And also, you can go vote for your driver of the day. There'll be a poll up right now, and you can vote for who you think was the driver of the day. It'd be a tricky one for myself, to be honest, Peter. I don't like to be dull with my driver of the day. I like to mix it up a little bit, look at further down the order. But if Nesov is telling the truth that he got 0 incidents in both races, meaning that he got a bonus point in each race, maximizing his score, I can't help but feel like the driver of the day has got to go to him.
Well, I mean, that's hard to argue against, isn't it? I mean, that is the truth. They say in motor racing, the gentleman's set is pole fastest lap in the race win, but to do it with no iRacing incident points at all, so no track limits violations, no contact, no nothing, that's very impressive. However, since you've chosen Alexei, I think I'll go with his fellow double winner in class, Drew Becker, getting 2 AM class wins. Really, really impressive for me. So he gets my Colbek driver of the day.
Awesome. We'll make your voice heard on colbek.co.uk/iRacing, and the driver of the day will get a medal and a little bit of prize money as well. Next time, Peter, we head to Zolder. We don't usually see these cars necessarily tackle a circuit like Zolder. It's a bit more of an old school circuit, hasn't been updated for a little while. It's quite narrow in parts, but I'm quite a big fan of it, particularly the second half of the lap or the middle part of the lap. I think has got some fantastic elevation change. It's got some unique corners. I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to that circuit. That'll be once again the first time we would have visited it in Apex Racing League history, in Apex Racing League GT history. Sorry.
Yeah, I have to say I'm a huge fan as well of Zolder as a proper hidden gem circuit. It's the same designer, John Hugenholtz, who also designed Zandvoort and Suzuka, also designed Zolder. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's a circuit that a lot of people might not have even heard of. So it's going to be great to take the ARL GT Championship there for the next round.
Yeah, it sure will be. Of course, if you want to take part in the Apex Racing League GT Championship presented by Colbek, go sign up. Go to apexracingleague.com. You can sign up for the series there. You can also sign up for our new Master Cup Championship. And there's also spaces available, albeit not too many of them, in the Apex Racing League Touring Car Championship. And that's on Thursday nights. So yeah, that's 3 championships you can sign up to. Unfortunately, our other championships are completely full at the moment, so you may have to wait till next season for them. But certainly do check them out at apexracingleague.com, along with race reports written by Peter for each one of our Apex Racing League events. That's pretty much going to be it from us now. Make sure if you've enjoyed this video to leave a like on it, subscribe to Apex Racing TV, and do check out our social media as well on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. But now though, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Peter Mackay and from Sam Kume, we are going to say goodbye, and we will see you next time out for round 5 of the championship at Zolder. See you then.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.